profit or revenue type of scenarios. So here we go, continued. Always remember that it's going to be the cost per whatever you're talking about. It could be cost per ticket sold in this case. It'd be cost per, can of pickles if you're selling pickles, right? It could be whatever it is that this company or this scenario is talking about. And then you have the number of whatever it is that you have the cost for, okay? Number of tickets. So you always have those two columns, but you add up a third, which is the profit column. And it's really these two multiplied that give us this one that fills in this. You will always start off, like the first two are given to you by the question. Okay, so they told us $1.80 per ticket, you sell 400, okay? And then as one of them changes, something will happen to the other. It should be opposite, okay? If one goes up, the other one should be going down. That's how it works. If you're adding to both, you're probably going to figure it out later on when you type it in. You might get a parabola that's pointing up, or it might be a linear, right? And then you know something is wrong here, right? Profit should always point down, okay? Profit scenarios. Okay, so let's go to 54, the back of 54, which is 55. We're going to graph this relation where we go price and profit. So what you need to do here is, just as before, you find your intercepts and you find your vertex. Okay? So I'm going to find the x-intercepts. The vertex I already know. The vertex, let me just go copy it from the previous page, is 140, 784. I already took care of that, so just leave it like that. But then again, you probably have different points. If you did your homework, you have different points, right, in L1 and L2. But I still kept the ones from yesterday. And I still have the equation in from yesterday. If you don't, maybe right now just follow along, because it's going to take too much time you entering everything again. I'm going to try Zoom Stat. And it's not good, right? This one is not good. So Zoom Stat doesn't always help you, but at least if you don't see anything, Zoom Stat at least gets you a line. And then you can move from there. I would always recommend, so I'm going to tell you already, just on the margins here, X min, you can't see that, right? But X min, I'm going to make it -5. And Y min, I'm going to automatically go -5 or -10. Something a little bit into the negatives, right? So this is your X min line here. And this is your Y min line. So you almost want to get a point here so you see your Y and your X axis. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Window. X min, -5. Y min, -5. Okay? That's the first thing I would do. And then I hit graph again. And it's a little overkill. -5 is too much. You notice that here. You could have probably gotten away with -1. So yeah. It's not a one size fits all scenario. So I'm just going to change my X min to -1. Pretty good. So now I need to change my Y max. Y max, I'm going to change that to, what did we say yesterday? 1,000 will work, I think. Again, you just try until things work. And this, let's say 5. And that's a pretty good graph. So maybe I will, in your notes, I will just say that the Y max here is 1,000. Okay, Y max was 1,000. And over here, X max, I have 5. Okay, so then you kind of have your, so this is kind of like the window that makes this thing appear. Okay, I don't really want you to do this on a finished graph on a quiz, but now you know that's what you're looking at on your screen. Okay, So now we go ahead and label. We know that this is the dollars per ticket. And you're telling me the units and you're telling me what it stands for. Okay, or you can, right? No, wait. We did do price, right? Yeah, price. And then profit goes up here. Also in dollars. Okay, so you'd have that. And it is 0, 0 here, but you can go and check it. But I already mentioned that the y-intercept is the same as the x-intercept because it's 0, 0. And I'm going to find the x-intercept over on this side. So let y2 equal to 0. Hit graph. Let me see if I can do this. No, the other way. Okay. I'm going to hit graph, second trace 5. I'm going to go closer to this intersection here. And it's 2.80. Okay, so up here, 2.80 is the other x-intercept, as well as 0, 0. And my y-intercept is also 0, 0. So in this case, it's the x-intercept and the y-intercept are shared. Okay. So let's go and graph this. I'm going to say 280, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That works pretty good. And here I'm going to go to 1,000, let's say. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That works. So 200, 400, 600, 800, and 1,000. Okay, so there you have your scale. So 180 is right about there. I'm going to go and say it's 784. This would be 700 right here. 784 is right there. And then 280, this would be 3 right here. So 280 is right about there. And then you just go ahead and graph this. Hold on. 1.40 is my, yeah, sorry. It looked wrong to me. Right? It was off-centered. So that's why you have if you have a proper scale, you will notice that. So it's 140, 780. Let's try that again. Okay, my bad. No, that's still wrong. Still wrong. I got it. 1, I would say 40 is probably, this is 1.5, so 140 is right about there. There we go. Now it looks symmetric. We're doing pretty good. The points are where they're supposed to be. And this equation is right. I'm just going to rerun it quickly here. Negative 400x squared. That's how lazy I've become. Instead of flipping the page, I run it again on my calculator. Anyways. So there is your equation. You've got everything labeled, including units, and you've got the scale and the points where they're supposed to be. Okay. So that's how you graph it. I would, honestly, you can't go wrong by going back to the calculator and just finding your vertex, your intercepts, and graph it. You can't go wrong with that. All right, next. This is just an extension, okay, this part right here. I don't think you'd ever really need to do this, but it says, like, come up with a second equation. But if I asked you to determine the equation that relates the number of tickets and the profit, right, then you would put the number of tickets into L1 and the profit stays into L2 as always, okay? So you grab your calculator. What I would do is I would go to I call this my spreadsheet. And instead of the price in here, I'll replace that with the number of tickets. Okay, so I'll go back to my chart and I'll replace it with 400, right? 400, 360, and 320. That's all you do. You replace, like now you're going to put the number of tickets in here. The profit stays the same. This one will not change, right? So your L2 stays the same. Then I go to my home screen and I just call that again. I'm going to do another quadratic regression. And here you go. There, that is the equation that would relate the number of tickets sold and the profit. Okay, so you've got to be reading carefully. What is it that I'm asking you to come up with, right? So this would be stat, calc, quad reg, y is equal to negative 0.00. I'm just going to use all decimals, if it's, especially if it's finite like that, plus 2.8x. And so now, if you were to graph this one, what would go along the x-axis? Not the cost per ticket, it would be number of tickets. Number of tickets, and this would be your profit. And the vertex in this context, okay, would be ticks. I'm just going to go ticks, number of tickets, and maximum profit. Okay. We already determined that the maximum profit is 784, correct? It's not going to change. It's going to stay the same. The only thing that's going to change is that this number is now going to represent the number of tickets. Okay. So if you want to find your window for this one, if I hit graph, it's not going to work most likely. See how it's a totally different looking curve. So I'm going to try zoom stat one more time. And so now you notice that it's showing me these points here at the beginning. What's the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my window, change my x-min to something in the negatives, negative 5. I'm going to go to my y-min, change that to negative 5. Now I'm going to hit graph one more time. So now you see a bit more. You see the y-axis, you see the x-axis. Now I just need to change my y-max a little bit and my x-max a little bit. Window, x-max, I'm going to go 1,000 for x-max. And my y-max, I'm going to go 800. So the 1,000 x-max is not quite enough. Change that to 1,500. And there you have it. Okay? So you have to change your parameters, your window, to make this one fit in this case. Let's find the vertex real quick. Second trace max. You go to the left. Another point to the right. Enter, enter. And there it is. So second trace max, right? Because I'm going to use that to find it. I get 560 really if you round that. Don't round it to a whole number unless it actually rounds to a whole number. In this case it did. Okay. So max profit is 784. Tickets sold. You would have to sell 560 tickets to get that high profit of 784. But we already figured this out yesterday. I don't know if you remember the 560. We're going to go to the previous page and just look at it. D. Look at D on the back side. We already figured that out doing some algebra. Okay. See, on D we used the fact that we knew the cost per ticket, which is 140, and the profit 784, and we divided everything by 140 to get our tickets sold at that maximum profit. Okay? So everything is connected, everything jives. That's what I'm trying to show you here with this. Okay. I'm just going to say same answer as D. Okay, so this is just a note there. give me an overview of where you're at. That doesn't mean that there's no more growth after that, right? You're still going to get better at it. This is basically page 54 of the homework, okay? 51, sorry, 51. So in this case, we are told that when we charge $5, okay, we sell 110 plates. So I already gave you this table. If I don't give you a table, I would expect you to come up with 3 columns and 3 rows like this, and then fill it in. Okay, so 110 plates for $5, that would be 110 times 5. Then it would be, if we increase the price by 50 cents, we sell 8 fewer plates. Okay, so we would go -8 for the plates, and we would go plus 50 cents here, so that'd be $5.50. And then that'd be $6, right? Because we would go another 50 cents increase. We go -8 again for the plate, so that's 94. Okay. Then we just multiply 102 times 550, and this would be 94 times 6. You fill that in, you get 550, 561, 564. Okay. And it says determine the quadratic. So you get a mark for this. If you made a mistake, just go -1, right? And then if it's a minor mistake, it depends on, sometimes I just take off half, but most of the time it's -1. You want the quadratic equation that relates the price and the profit. So you go L1, L2, right? You go L1 for price, L2 for profit, and then you go stat, calc, quadreg. And you should get -16x squared plus 190x. Okay? That is the equation that you want with the keystrokes. Right? The maximum profit, we go second, trace, max. Obviously, you're first going to have to find your window to see the parabola. But if you do this right, this is 594. 564.06, and I want to say something about this. Some of you may have guessed that it's 564. You just go with your cursor and you trace it. Don't do that, all right? You want to use the function second trace max to find the exact value, okay? So a price of 594 will maximize profit. And this, of course, your equation, if you base it on what your table is, right? Your table, you made a mistake. I would give you a mark here for the step. I would give you a mark here for the step. If you show me the keystrokes and you find the vertex that you got, you still get the marks there. It's not a 0, okay? How many plates are expected to sell at this price? Right? So basically, you just go 564.06 divided by 594. That's the quickest way of doing that. And that gives you 94.95. We cannot have that, right? So that's approximately 94 or 95 plates. If you go 94.95 today, I think I'm happy. You know what you're doing, so you wouldn't lose rounding marks there. What price or prices will give you a profit of 500? It's saying, what price would give you a profit of 500? That's what it's asking for. So really, you want y2 equal to 500, and then go find the intersection. This happens twice, correct? If this is your graph, it happens twice. This is the 500 line, so it happens there and there. So the first one is 394, okay, x1. X2 is 794. Okay? So a price of 394 or 794 will give a profit of $500. Okay? So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this backside is worth 6 marks. So we'll just mark this one. Just give it a mark out of 6. for this page. And that's that.